What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over the latest updates, data points, and everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So NIO right now is flat, 495 the low, 503 the high, and another day with low volume. So 21.3 million shares being traded. 51 is the average. Nothing really coming out from China for data points, macro data points. So today, I think NIO and just many other stocks are just piggybacking off of the broader market. Although yesterday you kind of had things inverse. So you did have Li, XPeng, and a couple others all red yesterday. NIO, for the most part, did okay. Today seems to be the opposite. So you do have Li and XPeng both solidly green, and then NIO somewhat just kind of stuck in limbo. Nothing really crazy for price action. So most likely anticipate this same type of activity for throughout the end of the year until NIO does announce their December numbers. So that'll probably be the next big catalyst, most likely. But nonetheless, there's one thing that did come out that usually pushes NIO higher, and that is this. So whenever there's demand or even just operational launches, market does typically see those as very favorable, and algorithmic trading usually does push NIO higher. So this was just announced. So NIO has unveiled the refreshed ET5 and ET5T limited edition. So limited caps, so 555 units. Again, market does always like this, but today seems to be just a very abnormal day. Possibly this could be one reason why NIO is kind of getting suppressed, or at least lagging a little bit. And I think in general, going back and forth between the EU and China regarding negotiations and tariffs, that's been kind of on everyone's radar for the last like 6+ months. And it looks like things are taking a turn for the worse. So it looks like Europe is going to be slapping China with additional tariffs. So it looks like about 21%, give or take. So bringing the grand total to 38.1%. So that's not the greatest, of course. I don't know if this has been or is just a rumor, or if that's just still a negotiation tactic, because I think there was also a ruling done from an 18-month kind of investigation regarding pork. But there's a lot of moving parts. And in general, if the EU, for whatever reason, does lower the tariffs on China, then that's good. But basically from this article, it's kind of saying because of China really ramping up a lot of their sales and expansion in Europe, which even based on NIO, they've been putting out a lot of expansion news. So I think just EU said, no more. So yeah, that might cause some disruption, especially with the Firefly. I know that was a pretty big thing that NIO is wanting to kind of use as a good tool for global domination for the most part. So yeah, I don't know how this will play out. And logically, in the past, this would cause NIO and many others to go down like 5+%. But with lower volume, it looks like institutions aren't really doing all that much today. So right now we're seeing absolutely no transactions on the secondary market above $100,000. Dark pool is a little bit more active. So these are some of the transactions being done there. 2.6, those were done first thing, so during the pre-market. So that does match with obviously the spikes. So it obviously big money was actually buying behind the scenes. But at the time of doing this video, shorts are increasing 142,000 shares. So lately, they haven't really been doing too much, but 7.61% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 155.16 million shares overall are being shorted. Still a lot of signs of naked shorting, so shares on loan being about 67 million and 155 being shorted. So still something sketchy is occurring behind the scenes. And then aside from that, DTC is sitting at 2.62 days. So still shorts are rather overextended, and that going higher, I think is just a false read. The reason why it's kind of showing like that is because NIO has been getting lower volume, and DTC does factor in the average volume for NIO in comparison to number of shares being shorted. So in general, with the average going down, this is why you would see this going up, right? Just basic math for that. Aside from that, looking at the options, kind of matches with the common stock, fairly low volume, so 986,000 in calls, 131 or 1.3 in puts, and 50% of all the options being done are bullish in nature. From a bull standpoint, you actually see a consensus for it to be between that 5 to 550, and then not only that, looks like as high as $6 in the foreseeable future. That is looking like January 16th, 2026 and onwards. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub pretty much $5. And interestingly enough, they feel that $5 and below is kind of where NIO is going to be for the foreseeable future. So again, if you want to kind of overthink that, that might be a good indication that there might be more upside in their mind than down. Aside from that though, with it right now at $4.99, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. $4.92 is going to be a strong support. That hasn't been tested whatsoever today. $5.06 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. And similarly, that hasn't been touched at all. So it's kind of just stuck in limbo. So overall, a pretty boring day, if that kind of makes sense. And honestly, nothing really wrong with a boring day. A little bit of stability is always good. Aside from that though, it is currently below that 10-day moving average. So yesterday when I was doing my video, it was smack dab in the middle between that 200 and also 10-day moving average. Looks like near the end of the day, kind of got dragged down a little bit, but nonetheless, in the short term, it really needs to get above that 200-day moving average. If not, then you are going to see some consolidation. And as crazy as that sounds, because of how much NIO has actually been holding up fairly well, you see the stochastic RSI it's at 87, so it is considered overbought. So as crazy as that sounds, so if there's a negative piece of news that does come out, whether that be specific to NIO or even just the broader market, you could see a little bit of a consolidation period, which is interesting because, like I said, normally what does happen is anything negative for tariffs or something along those lines, that usually causes NIO a lot of distress. So again, if you want to kind of think about it like that, maybe AI is seeing NIO as more of a value play potentially right now. So let me know your viewpoint on that in the comments below. One thing that generally I do like to bring up, especially on those videos, top 5 for like the quantitative data, it actually does show the valuation as a D. So again, it's kind of evenly and fairly valued potentially, right? So anything with a is a extreme buy. Anything that's coded as the F obviously is considered overvalued, and Tesla and many other those American EVs are considered technically overvalued right now. So I think NIO coded as a D is a pretty good risk versus reward at this stage, but still it is all going to come down to their Q4 numbers. So let me know your thoughts on NIO. Are you buying? Are you selling? What are you kind of generally doing? And hopefully, on a side note, from now up until I guess the end of the year, they do put out some more promotions or some more kind of operational updates, because that's what really does drive NIO stock price higher. So let me know your thoughts on NIO. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.